Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today. Look, if you've just started an LLC in Rhode Island, or honestly, even if you've been running one for years, there is one absolute, non-negotiable task you have to tackle every single year, and that is filing your annual report. So today, my main goal is to help you completely master this process. We're going to break down the steps, clear up all the confusion, and get you feeling incredibly confident about keeping your business compliant and in tip-top shape. But first, let me ask you a question. Want to protect your Rhode Island business from unnecessary penalties and the dreaded administrative revocation? Because missing this one simple filing means you automatically get hit with a $25 late fee. Then you lose your coveted good standing status. And eventually, the state can actually revoke your legal authority to operate. Literally meaning you can't sign contracts or even maintain your business bank accounts. It's a nightmare. But don't worry, by the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly how to prevent all of that. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We've got a straightforward 6-step agenda. Introduction to annual reports, preparing for your filing, navigating and filing, submission and payment, troubleshooting and extras, and lastly, conclusion and final tips. Section 1. Introduction to LLC annual reports in Rhode Island. What it is and when it's due. Now, this yearly compliance task is an absolute must, and it kicks in the calendar year after you first register your business. But hey, don't panic. I know the word report makes people think of complex, headache-inducing tax returns, but an annual report in Rhode Island is just a short, super simple form capturing your basic business info. It does not contain any financial data, and for LLCs, it doesn't even require ownership information. It is literally just an update of your basic contact and structural details. That's it. But timing is absolutely everything here. So here is the critical chronological window you really need to memorize. The filing window officially opens on February 1st, and your absolute deadline to file is May 1st. Now, the state does give you a tiny bit of breathing room with a 30-day grace period, but if you drag your feet past June 1st, bam, that $25 late penalty is automatically applied. So do yourself a favor, circle May 1st on your calendar in bright red ink, and please, don't wait until 11:59 p.m. to log on. All right, moving right along to Section 2, preparing for your filing. Gather your details before logging in. Trust me on this, gathering your details beforehand turns what could be a stressful chore into a 15-minute breeze. Here is exactly what you need to fetch before you even open your web browser. You'll need your exact entity name and Rhode Island ID number, your principal office address, your current registered agent information, your 6-digit NAISC code, and just a brief description of what your business actually does. Oh, and here's a pro tip for you. You can easily verify your entity ID and current registered agent just by searching the Rhode Island corporate database online first. Super easy. Up next, Section 3, navigating and filing online, walking through the Rhode Island Department of State portal. So the online portal is without a doubt the fastest, most reliable way to get this requirement off your plate. Here is your step-by-step sequence. Step 1, visit the sos.ri.gov business portal. Step 2, search for your entity and log in. Once you're in, take a beat for Step 3. Verify that the displayed information matches your records perfectly. And finally, Step 4. Select the annual report form for the current year. I literally cannot stress this enough. Make absolutely sure you never select an outdated form from a previous year. Real quick, here is a highly practical tip for the login process. The system might ask you for a customer identification number, or CID, and a PIN. If you're sitting there thinking, I have no idea what those are, don't panic. The state actually provides a direct email address for this, corp_pin@sos.ri.gov. Just shoot them a quick email and they'll help you retrieve your credentials so you can keep moving forward. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what happens at the very end of the online form. You're going to encounter a brief, voluntary survey asking about your employee count, gross revenues, and owner demographics. Honestly, don't worry. Your responses here are not published with your business name. They are totally stripped of identifying info and are just used to track economic trends for the Rhode Island Business Data Hub. So it is completely safe to fill out if you want to help the state gather some helpful data. Now, a quick warning for anyone who might decide to print out the PDF and file by mail instead of online. The state is incredibly strict here. Documents absolutely must be typed. If you submit a handwritten, illegible form, it will face immediate rejection. I mean, it says it right there in bold print on the form itself. Save yourself a massive headache and just type it out, or honestly, better yet, just file through the online portal. Section 4, Submission and Payment Process. Completing your online filing.
Okay, so you filled out the info, and now it's time to lock in the report. Let's break down the costs transparently. The base fee for an LLC annual report is $50. However, if you file online, the state adds a tiny $2.50 enhanced access fee, bringing your total to $52.50. And honestly, for the speed, convenience, and instant submission of the online portal, that extra $2 and change is well worth it. You can pay this easily with a credit or debit card right there on the site.
All right, once you click Submit and Pay, I need you to listen to this very carefully. Keep a digital copy. The state explicitly notes that successful online filings will not result in a mailed confirmation. You are not going to get a nice letter in the mail saying, "Good job, you did it." You really need to save your digital receipt and download the PDF of the completed form for your own compliance records. Moving on to Section 5, Troubleshooting and Extra Resources. Solving common compliance hurdles. Let's do a little myth-busting on some administrative misconceptions that catch a lot of business owners off guard. Here is probably the most common dilemma. You are staring at your annual report form, verifying your details, and you realize, oh no, my registered agent moved. Or, wait, I want to use a totally different registered agent service this year. So what if you need to change your registered agent right in the middle of this process?
Stop right there. Do not try to change it on the annual report itself. The annual report cannot be used as a shortcut to update your registered agent. You actually must file a completely separate document called a Statement of Change. That's Form 642, and it comes with its own $20 filing fee. You've got to keep these two processes strictly separate to avoid having your paperwork rejected.
Now, here is the scary question on behalf of viewers who might be tuning in because, well, they missed last year's deadline entirely, or maybe even the year before that. What if you go to the portal and see that your LLC is already revoked or not in good standing? Can you just file this year's report and be totally fine? Unfortunately, no. If your LLC has been revoked, you must complete a formal reinstatement process. This means you have to go back and file every single delinquent annual report you missed, pay a specific reinstatement fee, and settle all of those accumulated $25 late penalties. It's only after doing all the legwork that your legal authority to operate in Rhode Island will be restored. And that brings us to Section 6, Conclusion and Final Tips, wrapping up your Rhode Island compliance. So the crucial point here is that staying on top of this is infinitely easier than trying to fix it later. Let's do a rapid-fire list of actionable final tips to really foolproof your compliance strategy. First, set a calendar reminder right now for February 1st every single year. Second, remember to list your true principal office address, not your registered agent's address, unless they are literally the same place. Third, maintain a digital compliance folder on your computer to save those receipts we talked about. And finally, if this whole thing just stresses you out, seriously consider looking into automated filing services for some well-deserved peace of mind. The clock starts ticking on February 1st. The window opens, so I'll leave you with this provocative question. Will your Rhode Island LLC be ready to file on day one? Take immediate control of your business compliance, gather your documents today, and whatever you do, don't let a simple little form stand between you and your business's good standing. Just before we wrap up, a quick disclaimer. This explainer provides a general overview of the Rhode Island LLC annual report process. While we've definitely covered the essentials, every single business is unique. So please consult with a legal or tax professional or refer directly to the Rhode Island Secretary of State's official resources for advice specific to your own situation. Thank you so much for joining me and happy filing.